Hey guys, Sean here. Welcome to the F1 Word and to the qualifying report for the French Grand Prix. It was a session that threw up a few surprises, I think it's fair to say. But before we get on to any of that, let's start as we always do by having a look at our pole sitter, and it is Lewis Hamilton who starts from the front of the grid for tomorrow's race, having taken his 75th pole position with a lap time of a 1:30.029. As you'll see in a moment, it is an all-Mercedes front row. He ended up just over 1/10 clear of teammate Valtteri Bottas and will start the race tomorrow on the super soft tyre. Some will say it's not really a huge surprise that Mercedes have locked out the front row in qualifying. A lot of people expected this weekend to be very much a Mercedes weekend. And of course, they have fitted that new upgraded power unit as well. In fact, Christian Horner said after the qualifying session that he fully expects Mercedes to disappear with this one on Sunday. From a neutral perspective, I hope that's not the case. I hope we get a good close fight up front. But at the moment, based on today's pace and on race pace in practice as well, they do look very strong. Let's have a look then at the rest of the grid. As I say, Valtteri Bottas in second place behind his teammate. Sebastian Vettel sits third for Ferrari with Max Verstappen in fourth place. Once again out qualifying Daniel Ricciardo, who sits in fifth. Kimi Raikkonen looked good in Q1 and Q2 but fell away again in Q3. He will start in 6th place. A great qualifying for Carlos Sainz, 7th place for him in the Renault. And no, your eyes are not deceiving you. Charles Leclerc, 8th for Sauber. We're going to talk about him in just a moment. He did an unbelievable job. Haas looked good on pace as well. Kevin Magnussen in 9th place and Romain Grosjean 10th. But the Frenchman did crash out during Q3 after losing his car at turn 3 and putting it in the wall. Not a lot of damage to the car. A little bit of a repair job, but not too bad. But obviously Grosjean therefore did not set a time. In terms of strategy for the top 10 though, both Mercedes drivers and both Red Bull drivers will start on the super soft tyre, but everybody else, including those Ferraris, will be starting on the ultra soft tyre. Esteban Ocon at his home Grand Prix, of course, will start in 11th place, just ahead of Nico Hülkenberg. Sergio Perez in the second Force India sits in 13th, with Pierre Gasly in 14th for Toro Rosso. Marcus Ericsson qualified in 15th and actually made it into Q2 as well, but despite a decent performance, a long way off his teammate. Fernando Alonso is first of the McLarens in 16th place and out in Q1. Brendan Hartley qualified in 17th for Toro Rosso. He will take a penalty as well though, and that's following an engine change which will see him start from the back of the grid. Stoffel Van Dorn qualified in 18th place, and once again it is the two Williams boys of Sirotkin and Stroll that start 19th and 20th. A couple of things I want to cover before I come to my one to watch for the race tomorrow. One good and one bad. You can probably see where we're going with this. But we'll start with the positive for a change, and Charles Leclerc, if they were to award a driver of the day for a Saturday, he absolutely deserves it for his whole qualifying session. When he made it into Q2, that was good enough. I think that was his 5th Q2 appearance in a row, but then he went and got it into Q3 and qualified in 8th. His lap was so aggressive, he was right on the edge, and completely deserves all the praise he's getting. He was interviewed after the session and he was grinning from ear to ear. The whole Sauber team looked so happy with that. Great achievement from him and from them as well. And during that interview, Charles Leclerc said, "It's just unbelievable. Probably the best recovery I did in my career from one day to another. Yesterday was a disaster. The car didn't feel great, I was not driving well, and we changed completely the car today, and I felt a lot better. I have no words to describe how I feel right now. We all should be proud, the team and I, of what we achieved today." Realistically, what he's going to achieve in a race tomorrow, I mean, chances are he will probably go backwards a little bit, but he's got a great opportunity of picking up yet more points. And with all the speculation and all the talk coming out this week that Ferrari are ready to put him in that car next year, performances like this are doing Charles Leclerc's cause no harm whatsoever. But now on to the negative, and yes, it's McLaren once again. I know we've been at them quite a bit lately, but once again, a miserable qualifying. It just seems to be getting worse. They've now had both cars knocked out in Q1. I mean, Fernando Alonso has kind of come out and tried to defend the team's position. He said that it's not a surprise, as the average qualifying was P15 anyway, but then did point out that their race pace is better and they've often gone on to score points. And I kind of get what he's saying, but that doesn't make it acceptable. And I'll be intrigued to see what the team blame this one on, because they can't blame it on power, because both Red Bulls are comfortably in the top 10. Carlos Sainz made it into the top 10 in his Renault, and Nico Hülkenberg has probably got more pace in that car as well, but even though he only starts in 12th, he's still comfortably outqualified the McLarens, and they are all running exactly the same engine. So wherever McLaren decide to point the finger this week, The truth is, there is only really one place to look, and that is the chassis. That car is not good enough. There's been a lot of talk over the course of this week about changes at the top and restructuring of the team, unsettled staff as well, of course. And the truth is, the team are in a right mess, and they have got to take action as soon as possible, because right now they are just falling further and further back, and they keep talking about progress and moving up the grid and the changes that are going to come, but it is not working. Something is wrong internally, and it's got to be sorted, because quite frankly, that team is broken. Let's move on then to my race one to watch. My weekend one to watch was Pierre Gasly. Definitely worth still keeping an eye on him. 14th on the grid, and points are not impossible from there. But I'm going to go with Nico Hülkenberg. Now, the reason for that is that he starts just outside the top 10. He gets the free choice of start tyre. And looking at Carlos Sainz's pace, there is more potential in that Renault than Nico Hülkenberg delivered today. And he's got a great chance of picking up some very good points. A couple of honourable mentions though. Esteban Ocon for pretty much the same reasons as Nico Hülkenberg. And of course, that new Mercedes power unit in the Force Indias. You could throw Alonso in there. Race pace is better for McLaren, but I don't see him doing too much from 16th on the grid. And also the Haas boys. Yes, Grosjean crashed in Q3, but he still starts inside that top 10 right behind his teammate, and the Haas looks good on race pace as well. But that midfield battle is once again incredibly close, and if we don't get a lot of action at the sharp end of the grid, that midfield is definitely going to be the place to focus on. That is it then for the French Grand Prix qualifying report, but now we know what the grid is for tomorrow's race. Who do you think will go on to take victory? What is your podium? And who is your one to watch? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Now, just a reminder that there will be no pre-race live stream tomorrow, which means I will be back around about an hour to an hour and a half after the French Grand Prix for the live race debrief. In the meantime, though, you can follow me on social media. Links to Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and to Discord are all in the description down below. But as ever, thank you for watching. I've been Sean. This has been the F1 Word, and until next time, goodbye.